Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Really excited to be here again. Thank you, Maheshji. Thank you, the entire world of furniture and the entire Creative City team and the industry. It's actually excellent to be back with a very exciting topic. It seems like no conversation is complete without utterance of the word AI. And while we believe we're doing a lot of work in AI and AI is going to revolutionize everything, the intent of today's talk is to actually give a balanced perspective because not everything is going to change with AI, and AI has a lot of pluses, minuses, etc. So if somebody can give me a clicker, maybe we get started. Yeah, okay, thank you. Um, so, sorry, is there a okay? Excellent. So this is about me. I don't need to talk too much about me. We're going to talk about this in three parts. One is what we've called then to now. Second is homes that connect. And third is get ahead with AI. And the third section is going to be a little bit more about what should you do? How can you imbibe AI and tech more broadly, if at all, if that seems interesting. Look, technology is unstoppable. There is no doubt you can read history for the last thousands of years. Technology evolves in every sphere of life. And technology creates democratization. If you go back to 3500 BC, where the primary mode of transportation and commutation was actually horse-drawn carriages, that lasted for pretty long, actually, until 1800 AD is when we had these carriages. And then we suddenly had this sort of little steam cars that came out, a few millions perhaps, actually, maybe we are overestimating, a few thousands. 1769, the first steam car came up, went on till around 1900 or so. You then had internal combustion cars. First car, Carl's Benz, launched it, first prototype in 1886. We're seeing that the pace of innovation, maybe another 100 years, taken a substantial jump to a significantly better technology. Electric cars, the first electric car, Tesla, launched in 2003, right? And you're practically seeing another 100 years, you now have a new technology. And maybe the future is autonomous cars, which we already see successful prototypes of. And we are going to see these autonomous cars become mainstream just outside the Silicon Valley, starting from 2030. Now, what is the point here? We all know this. It feels like a history and a geography lesson. But, the technology will continue to evolve and it will continue to democratize its usage. So something that was used by millions of people is now being used by billions of people, right? And this is what the primary role of technology is. And therefore, every wave of technology actually creates many opportunities. I've just put three things here. Electricity. It was a defining technology that changed everything that happened in the world. Second is internet, and third is AI. We'll talk about AI a little bit more, but let's look at what did electricity do. Electricity, you suddenly had consumer alliances. The whole industry of appliances got born because there was electricity. The whole industry of computers. Then there were adjacent industries. You need transformers, you need copper wires, you need electrical meters, you need softwares that could do billing, or to measure how consumers use electricity. You had a lot of enabler industries, right? Other kinds of kitchenware, for example. EVs by itself, by the way, is a derivative of electricity. Imagine something that was invented many centuries ago. We're still innovating on that foundational technology. If you look at internet democratized knowledge, just like electricity democratized energy. We had search engines, back in 2000s, we had these messengers, we had internet service providers, we had e-commerce come up because there was internet. And then suddenly there were software as a service tools. There's social media, there's cloud services, there are routers, there's servers. There's so many things that came out simply because internet became mainstream. And then fiber optics and antivirus software, digital payments, right? We are still innovating on internet. We're nowhere close to have exploited the power of internet fully. And now, literally in 20 years, we have AI. And we believe that AI is going to be as foundational as internet and electricity. It's just fortunate or unfortunate that the pace of technological innovation is so rapid now. It took us more than 200, 300 years from the next wave, electricity to internet happen. But from internet to AI, we are here in 25 to 30 years, right? And with what is AI doing? AI is democratizing intelligence. AI is democratizing access to knowledge and being able to process that knowledge to make decisions that you and I would have typically done with all this accumulated experience. So you now have these Gen AI models. We're going to talk about what is Gen AI because there's so much talk about generative AI, conversational AI, and whatnot. We suddenly have chatbots in customer service. We have connected home security. Adjacent industries, we now have digital twins. We'll talk about that in the third section. In fact, I did a town hall in my company last week, and we showed an org chart to people saying we are reducing people, but we are growing our talent. And that org chart basically put bots and agents along with people. We have actually even named our bots and agents. We actually have names for them, right? Because we're treating them as people. We're defining policies on them as people. We'll talk about that. You have AI tutors now. AI tutors can pace education and learning depending on your absorption. We wished human tutors could do that, but human tutors unfortunately start liking students who are brighter. AI tutors might not have the same bias. We can train them to not have the same bias. In fact, you could train AI tutors for patience. It is very difficult to train humans for patience. Digital friends. In China, you are already seeing a lot of digital friends emerge. Digital girlfriends, digital wives, digital friends who will listen to you more, who are more empathetic, who are more fulfilling and satisfying in many ways. And now there are a lot of enabler industries. GPUs, you must have heard of this, and that's why Nvidia is suddenly like the world's most powerful and most valuable company. AI chips, AI data centers, cyber security through quantum computing. We are all used to antivirus software being deployed on our machines. But now, can you program cybersecurity in the chips and in the silicon that goes into your devices? So that you have software, you had hardware, and now you're saying, no matter what the attack is, my chip is actually already secure and no external attack can happen on this chip. It's real. There is a company, by the way, based in Bangalore, Indian company, which has actually created this. There are only 2 companies in the world that do this. There's one of them in Israel, another is in India. That's the power of what we are talking about here. We've just gotten started. Now, what is AI? What is this whole deal about man and machine and this AI? So I actually love this page. Natural intelligence and artificial intelligence. Natural intelligence and artificial intelligence are actually very similar. We all of us humans, we are powered by food. AI powered by, it eats electricity. Exactly the same thing. Food security used to be such a big topic. Today, energy security is being spoken about in the same light for the same reason. Humans, we believe we are creative, we are instinctive, we make logic-based decisions, experience-based decisions. We have the ability to respond with context. Your brother-in-law in front of your father-in-law, you behave very differently than how you deal with your brother-in-law, at a nightclub, because that's the power of context, right? We can fail and we might not learn. We are prone to making the same mistakes again. We need motivation and naps. We need to sleep. We get tired. We get demotivated. And we actually have no concern for privacy. But in the technology and digital world, we are suddenly very concerned about privacy. Now, if you look at AI, AI is literal. You tell it what it should do, it does exactly that. It makes logic, it's just prone to making logic-based decisions. It has very little intuition. There is some context, but it's still evolving. It's very generic because it doesn't have, it lacks context, right? Accelerated learning to AI avoids failures. AI is relentless. It's the employee you never had. It works 24/7, doesn't complain, never gets tired. Only thing it wants is the same amount of electricity. That's all, right? And there are privacy concerns. Why are there privacy concerns? Privacy concerns because the data is not in your control. The reason you went to a nightclub and never worried about somebody clicking your picture is because you thought you have control. With AI, you don't have control. You don't know what data is flowing where and how it will be processed. And the technology has become so sophisticated that your images, your data, your photograph can be put in a completely different context in a very believable way, which is something that cameras could never do. And so, artificial intelligence effectively learns from data. Natural intelligence, all of us, we learn from experience. So, it's actually very similar, it's very complementary, actually. And so, let us demystify what is AI. What's such a big deal about AI? You must have heard these terms quite a bit. You must have heard artificial intelligence, this broad bucket, this entire world of artificial intelligence. Machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning is when you're basically making a machine learn. It's just a part of AI. It's not the same thing. Deep learning. Deep learning is when you take a machine and keep pounding it with more and more context on a topic. That's when you're making that machine really gain from experience. Generative AI. Generative AI is when you've given it something, but then you are asking it to generate something new. Completely new image, completely new email, completely new story, completely new movie, actually, right? It's possible. And then there is predictive AI, which basically allows you to anticipate, allows you to predict. It might be wrong, but you can train it with context. So you can have machine learning algorithms powered with deep learning context and fed into a predictive AI engine so that it is able to predict like a human. You have NLP, which is natural language processing. You can actually now give it information and knowledge in any language, in any dialect, and it will understand. And then computer vision, which is basically the eyes. One of the things, and I didn't put that slide here, but we are trying to replicate the human body in a computer. Computer vision will have sensors with sense of smell. We have ears, and a brain that is able to interpret any language. We are already, several of our body parts are being disrupted by technology. We are creating machines that, at least in some respects, are better than what God gave us, as a human body. And so, very rightfully so, the topic for today, it is not inconceivable that we are going to create homes that connect and spaces that think. It's very interesting, by the way, that we just thought of this tagline on the slide, and Dhiren, my colleague, he's an AI principal, he does a lot of AI work, actually just put it in AI and we got this image generated, right? It's completely generated from AI. It's not taken from a Google or whatever. Very simple, smart and connected homes. Every single thing in the home, let's assume will have memory over time. It will have ergonomics which are suited to your body. It will have emotion sensing which can assess your mood. It can assess stress in your body. We already have all the ultra humans on our bodies already, right? And it can actually send a signal to your television to tell you what advertisement to show to you next. It's possible. All of this technology is already available. And all of this hardware is already in your homes. So this is not even provocative. This is real, right? So let's talk about homes that connect. What does it mean? We've been giving all this gyan about AI, but what does it mean for you as an industry participant, as a furniture manufacturer, as an interior decorator, as running a business who is day in, day out trying to make homes beautiful and more livable and more personalized? I'm going to talk about 5 themes today. One, I think Maheshji already spoke about hyper-personalization at scale. Second, we'll talk about digital twins at the front lines. All of us have people at the front lines. All of these salespeople need to be trained, retained, motivated, and they might, guess what? They might still not convert because unfortunately we can only build so much intelligence on the front line. Third, smart manufacturing. Fourth, signals, not surprises, right? Today, if I were to do a poll, on how many of you got at least one surprise in your business, it could be a positive surprise or a negative surprise in the last 7 days. I'm pretty certain 90% of the people will say yes. Either a stock ran out, or a person left, or a machine broke down, some surprise happened, right? How do you catch signals and no surprises? And finally, for all of us in the room, how can we be optimizers and not managers? I think the whole discipline of business administration and management is now moving to saying, how can I hyper optimize my resources, my talent, whatever else I might have? I just have one page for each of these themes. The first one is hyper personalization. Can we have an infinite catalog? Can we go to a customer comes, customer does not know what they want to buy. Customer does not know what is the right configuration of a sofa, what's the right width, which materials are there in the market. Nobody buys a sofa every second month, right? Our biggest competitor, your biggest competitor, is not the people in the room. Our biggest competitor is the speed of changing user expectations. And for you to perceive what the consumers want now. Suddenly consumers want a device connected to a recliner. Suddenly, consumers want, your Kindle to be connected to, your sofa. It's actually crazy how consumers are spoiled every passing day. All of us as consumers. Users upload, and just an example, right? Users upload a home image. Let's say they walk into a store. They enter a little bit of the requirement in terms of very nebulous requirement, saying, I want something that makes me feel like I'm a part of nature. Your guy on the front line is like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Do you want something in green? Do you want something that has a fabric which has leaves on it? Okay, maybe we can customize that. Let me ask my boss if that is possible and if we have that fabric in stock. That's where that conversation is going to go. Vision AI detects relevant furniture in the room, says, okay, oh, you have a book rack. You probably like books. Oh, I see that you have a certain showpiece. Oh, you're an art collector, actually. Is there something that I have, which I have a content license on, and I can get you a fabric that will truly make this space unique or contemporary, right? Or rustic. AI identifies size, reference images. It can pick the entire internet is open. You can pick reference images and say, hey, how about this? We are swiping to find girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, whatever. Why can you not swipe to find the right furniture? Why can we not swipe to find the right lampshade? I have not seen that. There are a lot of innovators sitting in this room. I have not seen that on their apps yet, right? A designer bot generates design, right? Generates requirements, generates optionalities, and then you get a few recommendations. They are completely artificial recommendations to say, how about this? And in your space, how would this look? I don't know whether that SKU is available or not, but it surely can be made available because a lot of you have capability to actually design, manufacture, customize. We've seen, I'm sure you're all familiar with this company called Wayfair, that they've embarked on this journey, and they now have a model production and imagery pipeline where the time to launch a new SKU has been reduced to 4 weeks already from 3 months. And by the way, we don't even need to wait for a customer to walk in and say, make me a part of nature. That people of my profile, coming from where I came from, of my age group, are increasingly asking for XYZ. And it's not just one X, but there are actually 4 or 5 archetypes. 80-90% of the consumers are looking for broadly that kind of and you could actually innovate where you could conceive product lines with that. The second topic, it's very interesting, and then again very cheekily said Tony Stark without the Jarvis is just a guy in a suit. We have, unfortunately, a lot of Tony Starks, and maybe they're not even Tony Starks, right? But a lot of Tony Starks on the front line talking to customers, right? And we have not given them a suit. They have no superpowers. We have told them smile. We have told them pay attention. We have told them this is the catalog we might have. They might not remember it, by the way. And we have told them that if there is an interesting customer with a certain budget, don't waste time, immediately bring them inside and get somebody senior to talk to them. Sounds familiar? Most front lines are like that. But why? Why can the frontline guy not be empowered? Empowered doesn't mean they have to remember the entire infinite catalog or the SKU list. No. Empowered to talk. And if they cannot talk, because some of them are not as educated, not as sophisticated, they can still be given tools that allow them to talk, to assess customer segmentation. They're not MBAs. They don't know what customer segmentation is, but they have judgment. And they just need to be empowered to say, what should I talk? Dhiren and I are actually working with a wealth management company, trying to do a relationship manager co-pilot with them, which is, I'm sure you've dealt with a lot of relationship managers, and they don't know what's happening to the portfolio if Trump chooses to increase tariffs or reduce tariffs, because they're not empowered. They don't have the suit. They're just a guy. And we are expecting them to know everything. They don't know. Can you negotiate pricing? That guy, price is a very touchy topic for most entrepreneurs in this room. If a customer talks about price, immediately stop the discussion and call me. You are not empowered to talk discounting. You are not supposed to do discount. You're not supposed to utter the word discount. But can I negotiate price? Absolutely, yes. We worked with an automotive OEM where we helped them help the frontline negotiate pricing. The pricing tool takes care of inventory, takes care of sales velocity, takes care of new customer versus old customer, affluent customer versus not too affluent customer. There are so many, stock that was not running away versus running away. Can I bundle? Our front lines are not empowered. Follow-ups. Who buys furniture? Who walks into a store and just buys furniture just like that? Nobody. Follow-ups and conversion is such a critical part of what we do. But we seem to lose control when the customer is out. We seem to lose control even after a lead. We seem to lose control when the customer was not connected on the call, and after 2 calls, we're like, maybe this was not a very serious customer. In fact, I have personally had experiences where a frontline individual on the call says, sir, you're not a serious buyer. I'm pretty sure you've had experiences maybe in insurance or maybe real estate or other places. And so can we have happy customers inside and outside the store, right? Customers where you've seen higher conversion rates, you've been able to premiumize, right? And you've been able to create a massive word of mouth. This company called Mathis Home has actually done this. They actually have built the AI sales co-pilots, which is now already delivering faster cycles and empowering frontline associates to scale bigger. Their targets have increased, their number of people have reduced, and sales conversions are more. Third, I'll talk about a few examples around manufacturing. That's the most sort of unsexy part of our business. Can our factories manufacture a hyper-personalized SKU efficiently? 1800s, we started with the Industrial Revolution, which is, I can produce large volumes of whatever at scale at a lower cost. And now we seem to be moving backwards in a good way, right? If you see ProHan, 90% of their defects are now detected by AI, no QC. Computer vision can tell you whether there is a crack or an inclusion internally in the wood that you're using. So why cut the wood like that in the first place? Why waste it? Ashley Furniture, I'm sure all of us know about it. Their downtime is already reduced by 20% because they are now using 3D printing to make molds cheaper and better and quicker. Molds is a very touchy topic for this room. Dyes, molds, tools, we'll not talk about. China and Thailand to complicate the discussion, but it is a touchy topic, right? Um, Tyson Foods is an example in foods, not really furniture, but they've actually completely eliminated inventory counting manually. They're using the computer vision to basically count the number of SKUs, number of eggs, or whatever the case may be, number of chicken trays. Steelcase, which is a little closer home to all of us, now without any incremental capex, have literally modernized their factories and added IoT contraptions to modernize legacy systems. Zero, or not zero, but a very marginal, marginal capex. So it's not about robots building goods, not at all. That will also happen perhaps. But it is really about AI ensuring that our machines, our supply chain, our vendors don't stop. Our maintenance, I've not even started talking about, aftermarket. Let's talk a little bit also about signals, not surprises, which is how do all of us in the room, including me in my own business, move from firefighting to having foresight? What proportion of your time every day or every week is spent in what we call as firefighting? I'll not take a guess, but it's substantial. So can our supply chains truly match delivery times for furniture and fashion? We've seen this happen in fashion already. Fashion is an equally complex supply chain. Wayfair today now has reduced delivery days by 2 days. They are able to do predictive logistics, predictive trucks, pre-position inventory in stores. IKEA has actually reduced inventories by 25%, predicting store level demand. Store level demand is important because not all stores are the same. Depending on an affluent, a store in Kamla Mills compound for people who live in Bombay, and the corresponding store in Ghatkopar and the corresponding in Navi Mumbai actually has very different inventory and very different turnovers on those inventories. Lowe's, which is more into hardware, right? They have reduced their SKUs by 15%. Why? Because low performing products, they are able to plan, I would not say on the fly, but with a cycle time which is substantially lesser or smaller than a season. Nebraska Furniture Mart, they've saved 1,000 hours just doing digital price tags, right? Which auto update and reduce manual. There are many, many examples like this. And lastly, how do we all become optimizers, which is sort of the more sophisticated AI empowered, technology empowered managers, right? How do we predict? How do we position better? And how do we profit from it, right? If you look at Freedom, they've cut their NPD timelines massively. You should read that case study on the internet. Home Depot increased basket sizes. Product discovery is enhanced. Consumers no longer need to walk all those aisles and those hypermarkets in the US. You are able to actually give them an experience, help them select with the more empowered frontline assistant. DFS is now doing first attempt deliveries because, again, this is pretty easy, but being able to predict which customer I will find where, and therefore reducing number of no-shows. Same thing for Lowe's, IKEA, Crate and Barrel. The examples are many. But how do we optimize? Optimize inventories, optimize orders, optimize cost, optimize wastage, optimize people. And so, while this seems provocative, what do we do? Maybe I've left you quite confused and concerned because sounds like everybody is doing all of this except you, right? But that's not the case. This is easier said than done. CXOs, and I meet with a number of CEOs, not just furniture or not just home interiors, in insurance, in automobile, whichever company we talk about, the vision and the reality, unfortunately, are still at loggerheads. Vision, yes, we want to innovate on AI. We want to build competitive edge. We want to create stellar customer experience for our customers. We want to automate whatever we had. But the reality, hey, look, your CIO or the tech guy will say, but what about data privacy? Your customer will say, what about data privacy? Right? What about talent shortage? Where is this AI ready talent? I can put Jarvis on the guy, but how do I change the guy? Is the guy ready to wear that suit and fly, or is he just too scared to fly? Right? Very different. Everybody will not be Batman, just because you give them, a robe, right? ROI uncertainty. Where do I start investing? Ethical risks. So AI success is not just about adoption. It is really about aligning what's your ambition, what's the capability you have and you want to build, and responsibility for you as a business owner towards all stakeholders, not just customers. And so these are the questions that get asked to me quite a bit. Where to begin? Which use case to pick? How much to budget for? I don't know. Most business owners don't even know where the AI innovation budget should even lie. Does it lie with my CIO? Is it with the business guys? Is it with my chief business officer? Is it a CEO initiative? Who funds this? How should one even measure the ROI of a tech project? This is about you start a tech project and it's not as successful. What happens to that budget? Do we custom build or do we just subscribe to a tool? I'm sure all of you are bombarded by tools. People have already created a nice AI first ERP. Your ERP guy is actually coming in telling you that I have this AI analytics module that you need to immediately subscribe to, right? Should we do that? Which technology, which tools to pick? Should we, or when do we hire and build? When do we outsource? How do we ensure relevance of projects? One of the biggest issues in AI and technology is a term called engineering debt or technology debt, which is by the time you are done with the project you started, the technology has moved forward. Some of you who have already worked on some of these technological innovations would have felt that already, right? And most important, and this is what we advise our clients, is say forget all these other questions. Firstly, are you ready? Do you have single source of truth, even data infrastructure in place? What will AI do if you don't feed it with the right data? And most of us in the room actually do not have that. We have an ERP implementation, we have a finance system, we have a CRM. Do they talk to each other today? I don't know. But most of our clients, that is not the case. So, AI adoption, I'm not going to bore you with this long thing, but this is also something that is a part of the report that we have that should be available to everybody. But AI adoption is a long and iterative journey. This is when you have made up your mind that you are ready for AI. If you don't have the right data, you're not even starting at step 1 here. That step is not even shown, right? This is already there, so I'm not going to present the entire thing, but it's not easy. It's not trivial. The success mantra is really for all of us: start small, demonstrate success with customers, with internal stakeholders, and then repeat it, pick up new things. If you're trying to do the frontline empowerment and pricing and inventory optimization all at once, you are going to be very distracted, confused, and likely disillusioned. We should not do that. Pick one pain point, prepare the required data sets, solve it and demonstrate success. Discontinue it if it's not scaling. If it's not scaling ideally, that should not have been the case, but just in case. But avoid large-scale AI transformations. We tell our clients, if a client is coming to us saying, I need to transform myself AI, I'm like, let's get started. Yes, it will be a 3-year journey, but let's start with what we can do in 3 months, right? Jump on AI. Don't jump on AI before fixing data. Don't pick a very large use case, because the ROI, unfortunately, gets justified only in large use cases. And that's an innovator's dilemma. And do not ignore data security. In fact, Prohan, which is a company I spoke about also, it piloted quality control AI on one specific defect type to start with, before they scaled it to say, now let me look at the other 8-9 defects that cause me a lot of repairs and maintenance or warranty costs, right? Before I go to everything. The most important thing, 80% plus of AI projects fail not because the AI or LLM was at fault. It fails because you didn't have the right data. So you have to fix the foundation before trying to build the future. Poor data quality, insufficient data volume, multiple fragmented data systems, that's all a sign of broken raw data. And then broken deployment, which is wrong data sets, inaccurate labeling, for example, lack of governance, nobody being in charge of data. We've seen some large corporations make very expensive mistakes. IBM, IBM Watson actually came up with an oncology framework, which is basically detection of and cure of cancer. And they trained it on hypothetical, dirty, and unclean data. It caused IBM billions of dollars of losses and lawsuits because they did something on wrong data. Zillow, Zillow is that home search platform in the US, very popular. Inadequate representation of seasonality in the training data led to their predictive pricing model generating completely wrong answers. And Zillow has the best data apparently, right? But trained it wrongly. Many such mishaps. I had a lot of mishaps from the BFSI world, multi-billion dollars of lawsuits and damages because used wrong data, right? So anyway, 2 minutes of marketing for Praxis. What we do, we therefore have pioneered sort of business first AI. Start with business outcomes. AI by itself is not an end game. And then go to unbiased solutioning, execute end to end, deploy quickly because there's a lot of deployment that we've already done, and then embed it at scale before moving to the next thing. Anyway, I'll skip all this. This is one slide and last page. Irrespective of who you are working with and whether you're doing something internally or externally, the biggest mistake or the simplest mistake you can make is just get too wedded to the process without having very clear stage gates and stop loss on different milestones. Have you quantified the value of the business problem? If no, please do not move to the next step. Then are the stakeholders aligned? There is no point trying to do an inventory optimization project with your predictive guy, with your dispatcher, with your procurement guy being aligned on what you are trying to do. No point. That's a second stage. The third stage, integration, right? You are creating a tool, but where does it jive? How does it talk to the finance system, the CRM system, the ERP system, the MRP system, whatever you might have? That's the stage number 3. Stage number 4, validate with small pilots. Don't worry about spending money in experimentation. It's better than losing a lot of money in one go, right? Much better. It'll also give you confidence. It'll also build capability, right? And finally, and most importantly, this needs to be embedded in the company culture. People cannot be worried or losing sleep over losing jobs to AI. Guess what? They will lose jobs to AI if they don't embrace AI, 100%, right? So that's something that's really, something that we advocate to most of our clients. So yeah, that's about the time that was allotted. We still seem to have 3 minutes left, but I'm open to questions and, and of course, open to conversations. I'll probably be here the whole day, but I hope that you found this interesting and somewhat insightful. Yeah.
Hello.
Open to questions.
So as the speaker is open to questions, I'll request volunteers to pass on the mic.
Yeah, I see one there. Yeah, right in the corner. Blackish t-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming.
And I don't claim to know all the answers, by the way. This space is evolving so much, so I will attempt to answer.
Hi, I'm Pawan Chatlani from Dash Square.
Yeah. Sorry, from where?
Dash Square, okay. Bangalore.
Yeah.
All right. I resonate maximum with that slide of yours. Where to start, how to start. Okay. I would really like to know one example where Praxis has used AI and come out really successful. If you can give, we are all in a very similar trade.
Okay.
So related to our trade, how have you used AI in Praxis and come out successful?
Okay.
One example.
70 such examples actually, right, Dhiren? So yeah. So firstly, one thing I'm very proud to tell you that we've solved the biggest problem of consulting through AI, which is slide creation. So we are now actually successfully creating PowerPoint slides just by uploading data. So anyway, that's a pilot we just succeeded with. We have to scale, but where we are already using, for example, when we are doing market research or consumer research, we work with insurers, we work with banks, we work with interiors players, whatever, right? The whole gamut. We worked with agrochemical companies when it comes to agriculture, right? Today, every single market research tool, a discussion guide or a survey is generated through AI in Praxis already. In fact, if we had the opportunity, we could connect our laptop and take you to our intranet and show you live any industry, any geography, any problem statement. We have done AI implementation with 3 layers actually. One is the layer which is the user layer, which is saying, what do I need? We are not training our people to write prompts. I see a lot of organizations trying to train their people on prompt engineering. We said, no, writing prompts, again, people will go, prompt will go. So we have to make AI as dump proof and as embedded in the organization as is possible. So we have this layer where we say what research we want to do. We have a layer that writes prompts, right, Dhiren? Correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. And then we are using LLMs in the background. And we have trained some of those LLMs with a sanitized, experience set that we had over last 9 years. This is just one of the examples. There are many, many others. We can do one. Now, one of the problems with us is that we never upload client data on an LLM. That's just, even though, people, our own clients are sharing data with us on WhatsApp sometimes, but, we don't upload data on the LLMs. But there are many such examples. In fact, now that you asked, I can show you this Praxis AI toolkit. So all of this, by the way, is real implementation of AI within Praxis. So another thing, we do technology diligences for private equity investors. I should tell you that we have a bot. He's a friendly bot. This friendly bot scans the entire internet to say what private equity deals and M&A deals are being reported in the media. It then picks the deal. Let's say it's a private equity fund. It goes to LinkedIn and picks up the list of people, and we, basis their profile, know who does consumer deals, for example. It goes to Apollo and Lucia APIs to pick up the email addresses. It also pings our HubSpot CRM to say whether this person is already our client or not. It writes an email. We have trained the bot to write 7, 8 types of emails. It writes an email saying, I noticed that you are evaluating this transaction possibly. And by the way, we have in similar situations done technology diligences where these are the 3 most important questions. And it sends that email. And this bot is working for us entire 24 hours scanning the internet. We actually used to have a team called CAST, right? They're in Customer Acquisition and Success Team. We have eliminated that team. Now our CAST team is only bots. So that's just one more selling side example of what we are doing in AI.
Very insightful, Madhur. Thank you so much for explaining it so well for our wonderful audience. And great question, sir. So anyone else from the audience would like to ask something?
Yeah, 1 or 2 more.
We have time to take one or two more questions. You?
Hi, Madhur.
Hi.
Very insightful, whatever you showed us. You mentioned about this organization chart and digital twins. Can you show us something on this? Just to...
Organization chart. I don't know how we can plug it in. I'm sure Dhiren can show it. But it's an organization chart with people and bots. And we have told people to treat bots with respect. So you're not supposed to, use expletives with the bot. We're literally we've named our bots. And we have told people that they are supposed to treat bots respectfully.
Treat bots respectfully.
Yeah, yes. Because otherwise the bots also respond back.
All of you.
Yeah, Dhiren, do you have the page? Is there a way we can project? I can show you that page. Even from his phone, we can project. We have an org chart. I showed it in a town hall.
And this transition has been like,
yeah.
So how many people have you actually got off?
Got off as in we've reallocated people.
Okay.
And some people got off. And in our business, we used to have pre-MBA talent and post-MBA talent. We are practically down to 0 on our pre-MBA talent now. We don't hire freshers. So this year, we're the only consulting firm which formally stopped campus hiring. We don't want junior people anymore.
Is that a healthy site? Because campuses are looking for
So we
companies
are
like you.
taking trained people now from campuses. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Am I on? So it's a cue to the campuses. Now they have to reinvent their
Internship programs and whatnot.
internship programs and reinvent their overall course modules. Now they have to be more practical.
Is he able to
So
project?
many a times you would have heard, very recently you have heard Nikhil Kamath saying that if you are 22, 23, then don't waste your time on an MBA. So I think that is what he's referring, and everybody was trolling him. So this is what you listen now from the horse mouth. This is what he's trying to tell, that, hey, institutes, now it's the time to reinvent your programs and make it worthy for someone like Madhur to hire them and make efficient use of those resources.
Sorry, where is my superpower guy Dhiren? He's here. He was here. I don't know. I'm sorry, but we are not able to project it here, but we have that page. So anybody who's interested, I'll show it to you on my phone outside.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, please.
I just want to add one comment. I think the kind of industry and group who are sitting here, I think you need to have a program for a data integration, data, probably single source of data.
Yeah.
I think that is one step backward they need to
Correct.
take before they move to next stage. I
Absolutely.
think that is what they require the most today.
Yeah, that's my takeaway also. I think most organizations we go and they want to do something on AI. There are two types of people I see who want to do something on it. One who want to tell the board they are doing something on AI. For them, all the best, and we can do whatever they ask us to do. But you know, the guys who are really serious about AI, right, and who actually want to make a difference, there we say, step back. Let's first get the data correct. Because without the data, without the context, and without basic acclimatization to how technology and humans can work together, there is no point jumping. This AI wave is a multi-year, is a multi-decadal wave. This is not going to stop anytime. We are literally at the start of this wave. So there is no reason to stress and fuss, right? You know, we need to get the basics right. The first archetype, you know, are not our clients, unfortunately.
So thank you, Madhur.
Okay.
Is there anyone else?
Thank you so much. Thanks for being so patient. I know some of these talks can get very boring and pedantic. You guys are very patient and attentive. I really appreciate it. All the best. Thank you, Maheshji, for putting together a fantastic event. Thank you.
So Madhur, just while you are on stage, let's again go to that slide where there is a scanner for the report.
Oh yeah, I think
And
so. Let's go there.
Madhur has been a great help, and
Did
we
you get
staged a report together, and now he has
excellent.
already, I think, showed that report. Now it's a opportunity for everyone, all the attendees, to scan this and download this report, and somebody who will not be able to download it, you can connect the committee here later. We'll be able to provide you.
Yeah.
But let's use
Excellent.
the AI
Yeah.
or the tech here. That is the main, I think, agenda of this session.
Correct. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.